Communication Man here with you. Have a very interesting video today, a little different than our normal path of discussion. And the video topic for today is how do you birth new business ideas? I chose that word birth for a reason because to get real into a new idea of something, you actually have to copulate it. So the focus is ideal arousal, all right? So the idea of this came from James Altucher, the guy who talks about idea sex, and that's when you take some idea that, say, plumbing, for instance, and then another idea that seems like it shouldn't go together, something that normally doesn't go together, something unusual, and then you match it. So, say, plumbing and cooking, plumbing in a restaurant. You wouldn't really normally think of those things, and then you mix them and you think, is there any way we could do something with this? Now, most of the time, the answer is going to be probably, but it won't really be a great business idea. But you probably could do something with it. Doesn't mean it would work, doesn't mean people would enjoy it or it'd help them, but you probably could. So the idea is to try to find something that would be good, would be beneficial, would be interesting, would be helpful. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Ideal arousal. Hope you have your interesting brain cap turned on right now. And I want you to subscribe. I got a new video coming out every week, and I really like to share interesting ideas and things to help people who are kind of like curious about life and they want to do something more and they're not exactly sure how or what. So this is kind of one of those videos that can really help you think outside the normal cogs that we all have, the 9 to 5, the normal friends and sphere of influence, and hopefully challenge you to think of something that you can create on your own without being programmed by everyone else. Business ideas. So to create a new business, there are emotional requirements that we need to address. Most businesses are usually solved out of frustration. Now there are other kinds, but the bottom root of almost all businesses are someone being frustrated. And the benefit of that is you can look around, you can put your scanning eyes on, your ears monitoring, and you can start listening to what people are complaining about. What are they really frustrated about? And then you can think, is anyone solving that problem? So someone might be frustrated, but the solution already exists and it's already implemented extremely well. There's no real reason to try to compete with that if you can't make it any better or improve it. But if you keep hearing kind of something, or if you feel it yourself, it's even better actually when it's more personal. Because the more personal it is, you're going to resonate with it and you're going to want a solution for yourself. And naturally, that can help lead to a solution. So the picture that just popped up is a guy that's really frustrated on his computer. So what could be a problem that's bothered you? And you said, you know what? I'm super tired of seeing trash on my street. I'm super tired of seeing trash everywhere I go. Maybe it bothers you so much that you create some really basically in-depth app that helps people volunteer and clean up trash together. Or maybe you decide as a business idea, I want to charge for that. And you know what? Everyone's doing all the different landscaping services, and they'll rake and they'll do things. I just want to be the random trash picker-upper person. And so you could go to a neighborhood that has HOA or something and say, hey, you probably have your own crews or people that come out once a week or once a month. I'm kind of different. I can scan through it every other day or every other time and go through the neighborhood and pick up the little nitty gritty trash that a lot of them might not notice in the bushes or behind the trees or whatever the case is. You can maybe think of some solution and charge some money, and if it works for you, if you're happy with that, that really doesn't require a lot of capital. Really, it just requires some phone calls and some pricing plan and the time to do it. And so anyway, my point is, if that's bothering you enough, you can make money from it. So to talk about idea generation, we want to talk about something that has a high emotional state. Okay, so you can make money based off of frustrations. You can make money through emotional highs and love obtainment. That's a very important one. So most people Actually, everybody is, not most people. It's everybody. Whether they admit it or not, we put up big walls when we feel hurt and we pretend like we don't need love. But really, most of any normal, sane person is really deep down inside saying, love me. I wish someone would love me. And think about someone purchasing flowers from someone. They don't really care about the flowers. The flowers are beautiful, they're nice, but they really want the love that they hope those flowers can get. Whether it's a friend and it's just someone saying thank you, you thought of me, or if it's a romantic relationship, they're buying love, okay? And they're hoping to get love in return. That's their hope, right? So an emotional high or love attainment can help with, if you're creating a restaurant, don't just make food. Think about what high can I create here. So if you're going to, just serve hamburgers, you're going to be quite boring. But if you can create a high with it, okay, your burgers come in this, in the form of like a starship patty or something, and you have funny names with it, and you got lasers in the drive-thru that are really cool. And when someone answers the intercom, this is Star Trek 442. Don't say Star Trek, but Space Command for your food, and you make it a fun experience, and make it like a little radio sound. Roger that. You want a burger with 2 extra slices of tomatoes, no onions, and a pickle. Got that. 10-4. Okay. Now, yes, it's playful. It's silly to some. But some, they might like that. It's an emotional high. It's fun. I'm getting to act like a child. So the third one I put for entertainment surprise is a child in the little picture, if you see. And she's smiling and she looks a little like happily surprised. Well, there's a lot of money in entertainment and positive surprises. Now, some people make scary movies and all that, but really what the person's paying for is when you get that shot of epinephrine or adrenaline, that feels like a high. It's a happiness feeling. Now, even though it's scary, even though it's maybe horrible what's happening, that adrenaline rush actually feels like a happy feeling. So that's why people are into those. So I put a picture right now. If you see, there's a roller coaster that's just about to start its descent, and it looks like it's really high. We're talking hundreds of feet high, right? And these people are going to go in for a real steep drop, and it's going to feel scary and terrifying, but also fun at the same time. So by creating some business or some product or service or some idea that generates surprise, spontaneity, entertainment, you can make money from that. Okay, people, they spent all that money on the Marvel movie, the Avengers. It's one of the highest grossing films in all time. Now think about why. Well, you took them on an emotional high and low. And when you see the characters fight and if you develop a bond with them, it feels real. So what's important to think about is this is kind of the bedrock for the next thing I'm about to talk about, which is the idea generation. How do you take ideas and make new ideas? Okay, but the idea is if you're trying to create a new business, you have to think, what frustration can I solve? Or what emotional high can I offer? Or how can I help someone love themselves or love others? And that might sound corny, but it's actually very profitable if you understand we're all searching for love. We all want to be loved. Someone says, oh, I want, a boyfriend or girlfriend. What they're saying, I want to be loved in a special way. They can't find the right person. Well, they want someone who loves them in a very specific set of ways. So even when you, like I say, go to a restaurant or something, you're seeking an experience. That's entertainment, that's surprise. That is a part of the whole love process. And we're trying to get away from hate and negative feelings. So when we feel down, we're trying to go up. So basically, if you can create a business that gets them on an elevator, say the first floor or the basement if someone's really depressed, and you can get them up to the, say, 100th floor and have an amazing view and they feel amazing, and then, that feeling is resonated with your 100th floor, you can charge them for that. Hey, I'll take you on the 100th floor and I'll give you a view that you've never seen before. I'll give you a feeling that you've never felt before. And if you felt it, you're going to feel it again. If it's just something that makes you really happy, I'm going to help provide that. Idea randomization. All right, so this is the core idea behind this. Now you take two ideas completely opposite each other and have fun with it. Mix them. They don't have to be opposites, but you do want them to be different. So if it's not normal, you're on the right track. And think of ideas as puzzle pieces. do they fit well? So I just popped up a picture and it says all the stormtroopers with a serious face and the masks. And then there's this really funny stormtrooper that has, instead of a mask, it has bunny ears and a smiley face. It's funny because it's not normal. It's unpredictable. It stands out from what you're used to seeing in those type of movies. So there's also a picture that popped up of a puzzle pieces. There's 4 puzzle pieces. Well, 2, the blue and the yellow, fit quite well. They naturally look like they could fit, but the red trying to fit into the blue doesn't fit. So the idea is, you're going to take ideas that are not normal, but as you can see, there's also a picture of 2 happy faces, different colors, and they're kind of like yin and yanging, like into each other. The idea is like a figure 8. Does it flow well together? Now, most of the ideas shouldn't, okay, because they're different for a reason. But the idea is if you can find 2 or 3 or 4 that do, and you can stack them, and if you can get like 10 that really mix together, you could have a whole new business idea that no one's ever done, but it's also similar to what's already been done, so it doesn't feel too outside the norm for people, but it's interesting enough to create that surprise, that arousal we were talking about, and make it fun. So what I recommend is, and I do this, I just started doing this recently, is create like on Google Notepad, or if you have Apple, whatever notepad you can, just a digital way of saving notes on your phone that keeps it nice and organized. And you can just do, you can have like a list side by side. What I personally like to do is I like to do like number 1, and then I'll show you, I just created these. These are no particular order. I just invented them off my head. So, and here's the important thing. When you do this, it doesn't have to make sense. It shouldn't make sense, actually. So you want to be like a child. And I was watching my friend's daughter. It was so funny. She's a cute little kid. And she came up to me, and she had a big dinosaur in her hand that she was playing with her little brother. And she asked me, what would happen if a giraffe and a dinosaur had a baby? Well, see, kids, they're not conditioned to think that that's weird. They're not conditioned to be made fun of yet until the adult responds and says, why would you think that? Or something negative, and then maybe their brain starts to shut off. So where I'm going with this is think like a child and don't judge yourself. This is a completely judgment-free zone. And if you start judging yourself, stop that. Like slap your idea hand. Be like, Nick, wait. There's no good or bad idea. This is just for fun. I'm just doing this to practice. Now, the more you do it, your brain's going to get better at this. So I told her, I said, that would probably be a very unusual dinosaur with long legs and a funny short arms. And she just laughed. And then we were kind of making jokes of stuff. We were like talking about different ideas. She said, what would happen if a car and a house had a baby? And that sounds ridiculous, right? But it was a question she had, and I didn't insult her. I didn't make fun of it. And I said, wow, that would be really interesting. Could you imagine if your car could drive? And then she's like, yeah, that would be interesting. You could just drive your whole house to school. And then she said, yeah, but it would be really difficult to fit it on the roads. And I said, yeah, you're probably right. And we just had this funny conversation. And she said, what if we had a house with a spaceship? And then her brother, he got really excited because that was kind of his alley. And he said, I want to live in a house with a spaceship. And I said, wouldn't that be fun? You could just go to outer space and then come back and you're already in your home. I said, maybe all your things would be floating around, be in different places, but it'd be interesting. And then we started talking like, well, we'd need some anti-gravity machine in our house. Not anti-gravity, but gravity, like somehow a way to generate it. And so for these little kids, this conversation started getting really fascinating. And it was fun because they're not so, I guess, brainwashed into thinking that there's no, of course that couldn't happen. They're just, their brains were still open and having fun. So, okay, most of this will not lead to anything. But the point is, it will lead to something in your brain, which is you're turning your brain's ability to think back on like a child. And most of us, all the switches have been turned off. And we're not using it, okay? So I like to just take any idea. It doesn't have to make any logical sense. You just take one idea, and then I do plus another idea. And I just do like in a number form on my like Google Notes. I got like this cool app thing, but basically it's just you can type and save notes. Okay, so you can do it on Microsoft Word, whatever you want to use, just do it. But I just recommend just do 10 a day. It's really easy, and there's no right or wrong, so you don't have to get angry or upset. Just try it. And it's fun to see what you come up with, okay? So I just did cookies plus, I just started this just for an example, just for the video. There's no right or wrong to this. But I just did, okay, number one, cookies plus joy. Okay, I don't know. What are you going to do with that? You'd have to think about that, right? But maybe that could be a cookie with a smiley face, cookie plus joy. Like maybe cookies, like maybe there's like a place you can come make cookies with your friends and family and create happy memories. Like, you see how like this could link to something? So I put friends plus animals. Okay, not really a whole lot going on there. Coffee shop and petting zoo. Kind of interesting. Coffee shop plus sheltered animals for adoption. So I thought, maybe that's kind of interesting. Maybe like a local small coffee shop, not like a big one, but like a smaller mom and pop coffee shop. Maybe they partner with like a local animal shelter that's trying to get people to adopt cats or dogs, and the dogs are just sitting in these kennels, not getting attention, or cats. And if they're too violent or aggressive, maybe you shouldn't bring them out to the public. But if there's some that seem very docile and safe, well then maybe that would be a good idea. Have like a little section in the coffee shop where you can come get a cup of coffee, sit down, and you can pet these cats or dogs. And maybe you can't adopt them, but at least you can provide them with a little comfort that day, someone giving them some positive attention. And maybe someone might fall in love with an animal and say, I don't have a cat, I could adopt this one, or I don't have a dog. And so see how that's kind of a fascinating connection that I just literally made 5 seconds before I created the video. So you can have fun with this. And then I did another one, friends plus interactive stories. So I was thinking, okay, maybe that could be an app, maybe that could be a website. You'd have to work on that, right? But I just threw it out there, friends plus interactive story app. That was the next one. And think about like Mad Libs. Well, what if you had a more fun one with your friends, where like you type in something and then they type in something and then someone else types in something and you don't really know, everyone's just kind of like adding to a story, and then at the very end there's like a paragraph that everyone gets emailed or sent on the app, and you all have this like really fun story and your name's in it. Maybe that could be interesting. So another one I put, random restaurant dare plus website, app, or plugin. So maybe it's like, okay, once a month we pick a completely random restaurant somewhere I never would go. It's like a software thing, and they have to be like restaurants that are already kind of unusual in the first place. Not extremely unusual, but at least a little unusual, something that's not a super corporate franchise or something. And then you press a button and like roll the dice, and if you're with friends or something, like you have to go to that whatever restaurant it pops up. Or maybe you get like 2 options or 3 options, and then you have to pick from those. But it'd be kind of fun, just something that like gets you out of your normal bubble. All right, so then I put movies plus blankets. I don't know what you'd do with that, but maybe if you had a meetup.com or something like that, like invite friends over, hey, bring the softest, coziest blanket. Maybe we're going to do, storytelling with maybe a movie with flashlights. I don't know. It's just, have fun with it. All right, so hot cocoa plus scary stories. So, how could that turn into a business idea? Well, the next one I put was, okay, what about coffee shop plus spooky stories? So we're in October now, and even if we're not, like, who doesn't like a fun, spooky story, right? So, maybe you could find someone who creates stories, or maybe like people could bring in their own fun stories and tell them, hey, maybe depending on the audience, like if it's mature audience, okay. If you say maybe we need to keep it under PG-13 or whatever it is, and you can make the guidelines for that. And then that could be a really cool thing. Hey, Friday nights, spooky nights. Come get a cup of coffee, and we got local people who are going to bring in their own stories, and people can vote for which one's the best one, and maybe tip them somehow. Just see, I just made all this up within seconds. There was no logical plan. It was just random. Okay, so that was only 10. And I really didn't put any effort into that. It was just very simple. I just put that out really quick. So my point is, don't worry if it's good or bad. Your whole point is just throw them out there and think about it. What could this be? And if you keep doing this every day, just do 10. It's really easy. It's only hard if you feel like it needs to be perfect. Okay? But if you understand it doesn't have to be perfect, just throw out, cats plus dogs. Dogs plus cookies. Cookies plus health. Health plus health. Get what I'm saying? Just keep doing this. You're going to turn the part of your brain on, the idea generator, the muscle on, and it's going to go, oh, you want me to start paying attention to life and see what people are frustrated about? And maybe we can connect this to the emotional highs, and, oh, this would be kind of fun. Have fun. Enjoy the whole process and start doing this every day. Just do 10, 1 plus 1, and see what you get. And have fun with it. I think you'll really enjoy this, and I think you'll find this excuse me, to be more interesting than mere business ideas. You can do this for date ideas. Okay, you can do this for what should I do with my kids? It's kind of becoming too routine. So you could put in something fun for your kids. Like, okay, ice skating plus bowling. Nah, no thanks. Ice skating plus treats. Okay, treats plus. Okay, so those are like kind of common things, right? Okay, outdoor hiking plus scavenger hunt. Okay, a little predictable. We've done something like that. Outdoor hiking plus spooky storytelling. Outdoor hiking plus fun storytelling. Outdoor hiking plus jokes. Okay, jokes plus. Did you get what I'm saying? Okay, now that's kind of a simple one off the top of my head. But my point is, just try it. Just try it and see what you come up with, because you might find something super unusual, super fun, and something you've never thought about, and you can have fun to do this with your kids. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, and you're going to probably find some really cool idea that you're going to say, hey, this could totally work. Conversation starter questions. So anybody who watches my videos knows that I always like to leave a video with a question you can ask someone and create a conversation that's different than the boring conversations we always have. How are you doing? What's new? Blah, blah, blah. And then you get the same boring response. So remember, cool questions lead to satisfying, gratifying conversations. Okay? So ask someone, interesting, hey, what's the weirdest thing you've ever mixed together? And did it turn out well? Okay, it doesn't have to be food, but it could be. Anything you've ever done that seemed kind of weird and you liked it? So for me, I remember I was barbecuing, and I just sometimes necessity will create your creativity juices. It will inspire them, I should say. And I remember I was in California when I was living over there, and I didn't have a whole lot of things in the freezer, the fridge, whatever, the spice rack. I was just kind of like, all I had was some chicken. I had some really like raw honey from like a local farm. And I was thinking, what could I do with this to make it interesting? So I just got some like honey. I glazed the chicken breast, and I had the grill on already. And I was thinking, what else could I mix with this? And then so I kind of did something I normally wouldn't do. I took like a little lemon, and then I cut a very thin slice of orange. I had a couple oranges in my fridge, and I just took really thin, so after I washed them, of course, really thin slices of the orange, and I kind of put it underneath the honey. And then there was, I don't know if it was dill, it was something kind of different that I normally wouldn't use, but I'm like, I smelt it, I'm like, it seems okay, we'll just sprinkle a little bit. If it wasn't dill, it was something like that. But anyway, the point is, I kind of mixed it, and I was like, let's just see how this works. And it was pretty good. It turned out pretty good. And I think teeny bit of garlic. I like garlic a little bit, not that much. But anyway, so that one turned out really good. And then I remember I had another idea. It was the following week. I was kind of having fun with pizza dough. So they used to have this really cool grocery market called Fresh and Easy, but they liquidated. They're not in the U.S. anymore. But anyway, they used to have this whole wheat pizza dough you could buy. And it was really cool because it was all pre-mixed. And so I remember I bought that, and then I cut up an orange in tiny little pieces, and I mixed it into the dough. And then I had some corn flour to give it that rough texture on the bottom, so I kind of put that on afterwards. And then it was just out of sheer curiosity, I put a little bit of this, it was like maple syrup or like a bourbon glaze or something, and I just put a teeny bit in, like around the crust, and then, just pizza sauce. And then it sounds funny, but it worked really good. Crazy thin slices of orange under like this really nice cheddar cheese blend, and over the sauce. And I put the cheese over the orange, and then a little bit of I think it was oregano or something. Anyway, and then I baked it, and half of it kind of came out funky, a little too much syrup, and then the other half came out perfect, and the glaze was just perfect, like nice and crispy, and the orange gave it this really nice smell, citrusy, and because it was so thin, it wasn't too overpowering. And the cheddar cheese on top it was amazing. It was delicious. And then the people I shared it with really, really enjoyed it too, like my roommates and friends. And I remember it was just like, wow, this was really cool. And it had that nice crisp to it because of the maple syrup. And it was just something totally outside the box. I was just bored and I wanted to try something different. And I ended up really liking it. It took me a little while to kind of perfect it, but it was fun. So anyway, tell me, comment below. I'd like to know, what's the weirdest thing you've ever done? Have you ever mixed something, two ideas, doesn't have to be food, and it turned out well? And it could be some event or something. You tell me, all right? So remember, like and subscribe. Got a new video coming out every Wednesday. Today was a little bit off. I had to do my dad's birthday yesterday, and we went. I wanted to do it. We went and did a lot of special things, and just didn't have time to finish everything, so had to put it out a day later. But anyway, got the video out. Normally it's every Wednesday, and I love you. Subscribe for new content, and want to help you make your life better, and just help you enjoy life better too, just by being more creative, like this video, finding new ways to do things. So subscribe, and I'll see you next week.